Hello, everybody. This is Frank Gray. It's my pleasure to be leading you this morning through a discussion of the pre-listing package. Pre-listing package is something that only about 20% of real estate agents provide to their seller prospects. And because of that, it creates an incredibly wonderful opportunity for you to differentiate yourself from the 80% of agents who are not providing a pre-listing package. Look at the numbers from this perspective. If you are competing for a listing with 4 other agents, so 5 of you all together, which I think we would all agree is an unusually high number, and you are the one providing the pre-listing package, based upon those numbers, the 80-20 rule, the other 4 most likely are not. So that when you show up for that kitchen table discussion, you already are ahead of the pack in terms of the disposition of those sellers to hire you to represent them in the sale of your home. So the title of this class is Win the Listing. Set yourself apart. Get that seller predisposition to choose you because you've provided a great pre-listing package. So here's what we're going to cover in today's class. What is a pre-listing package? Why should you use one? What should be in it? And how do you deliver it? These 4 big questions really address all that you need to know regarding a great pre-listing package. So what is it? A pre-listing package is a set of documents provided to the seller prior to the listing appointment. It has 2 purposes. First, prepare the seller for a productive listing conversation. So you're going to let them know the issues that you're going to be talking about. You're also going to be asking them to gather some information for you so that you can have a highly productive conversation. And those things might be as simple as getting a copy of their survey or filling out some of the seller disclosures that you're going to complete when you're there together at the kitchen table. Secondly, the pre-listing package is designed to pre-sell you as the best agent to list and sell their home. You don't want to show up at the kitchen table at the same starting line with all the other agents they're interviewing. You want to be already 100 yards downfield going around that first curve because of what you have done in your pre-listing package to already cause the sellers to think that you are the most professional agent and the most likely agent to be able to satisfy their needs in this transaction. Why should you use one? One, it separates you from the competition. It makes you that purple cow. I think you're probably keenly aware that the general public perceives all real estate agents to be alike. We are often perceived as a necessary evil. We're just the people that have the keys to the homes that they want to see. Or from a seller's perspective, we are the ones with access to the MLS, which they know that they need in order to sell their home. But otherwise, we all do the same things. A pre-listing package, well done, separates you from the competition. You're the purple cow, so that when they're looking at the whole herd of real estate agents, you stand out as very different. You capture their attention. 2, it warms up the atmosphere for the listing appointment. You're going to see that one of the items that we include in the pre-listing package is the letter from the heart. And that very much warms up the conversation because in that letter from the heart, you're going to tell your story, where you came from, the obstacles you've overcome, the challenges that you've faced in your life, and how all those things have shaped you, given you the values that you have and the passions that you have to serve buyers and sellers at the highest level. And then 3, it makes the listing appointment quick and assumptive. By that I mean, if they're pre-sold on you when you arrive, it's really just a matter of doing the paperwork, deciding on price, getting a start time where the listing is going to go active, maybe working out a couple pre-listing details on getting the landscape refreshed or getting the handyman over there to make a few repairs. But you walk in not thinking, I'm in competition for this listing, I got to win it. No, you walk in thinking, it's mine. Just like it was a highly referred seller who wasn't interviewing other agents, you walk in with a great deal of confidence, this listing is mine. With a great pre-listing package, you can walk in with that same mindset even if you are in competition for the listing. Makes it quick and assumptive. Quick because you're not having to sell yourself, tell your story. You've done so much of that already in the pre-listing package. It's more of just attending to a few of the details that need to be addressed before getting their home on the market. So what should be in your pre-listing package? Please forgive the formatting error. I'll read that to you. Here's my top 10 list. Number 1, it should have a cover letter, and we'll go into detail about what that cover letter should say. 2, information about Abby Realty. You need to tell them a little bit about the brokerage affiliation that you have. 3, your letter from the heart. 4, reviews. That's the new modern name for what we used to call testimonials. If you were going out to a new restaurant tonight, looking for a new one, you would go online and search for what? Reviews. So when you see that word, if you're not familiar with what it means, just think testimonials. 5, samples of your marketing materials. 6, listing agreement and other disclosures. Basically, all listing documents should be sent to the sellers in advance in this pre-listing package. Gives them a chance to look through them. It's part of what makes that listing conversation at the kitchen table quick, because they've already read them, and any questions that they have, they can flag and get right to that when you arrive. 7, a next steps checklist. If you have taken our Aspire workshop, you're familiar with this. We'll go into more detail. Staging tips. 9, your marketing strategy for getting their home sold quickly. And then finally, a quick CMA. Quick CMA is a technical term used by the Houston Association of Realtors, MLS, to provide a snapshot of activity on comparable homes in the neighborhood of your subject property. So let's get into more detail on each of these 10 items. Your cover letter. This should be a short letter on your letterhead confirming the time and place of the listing appointment, providing your contact information, and a request for the sellers to review all the information in your package prior to the appointment. If the appointment is by referral, then mention the referring friend in the letter. Dear Jim and Sally, looking forward to meeting with you on Thursday night at your home at 7 p.m. Our mutual friend Jose has spoken very highly of you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you personally as well. Please take a look at all the documents that I've included in this package. If you want to get started on filling out some of the disclosures, that would be great. Of course, if there's anything in there you don't understand, don't be concerned about it whatsoever. Just make a note of it, and when we sit down at your kitchen table together, I'll be glad to go through and clear up anything that's a bit confusing. Looking forward to seeing you guys on Thursday night. Something just very simple and friendly. Information about Abby Realty, or if you're not with Abby Realty yet, about your current broker. I just bullet pointed a few things here about Abby Realty. We were founded in 2017 by Frank Gray, and I described myself as an internationally known real estate trainer. I don't normally go around saying stuff like that, but again, you're trying to pre-sell yourself and your brokerage to these sellers, so tell your story. Tell your broker story. We're a boutique firm which solely serves the Houston metro area. That's about to become out of date because in the coming months we intend to create value that will attract agents from around the state of Texas. So we'll need to update that bullet point. We are currently the fastest growing real estate company in Houston. That was true the first week that we began in November of 2017. We began adding 3 to 4 agents a week, every single week, and we have not stopped. We see nothing to keep that nothing to slow down that growth, so I suspect we will continue to be the fastest growing real estate company in Houston. That adds some credibility to your sellers, because if they've not heard of us, we're just over a year old at this point in December of 2018, knowing that so many quality agents are being attracted to what we're doing will help to raise their comfort level. We are building our reputation as the home of the best agents due to world-class training, mentoring, and coaching programs. Let your seller prospects know that is the reputation of the company that you are affiliated with, the home of the best agents. Your letter from the heart. It's a 3 to 4 page letter. It tells your life story, going all the way back to that log cabin in the woods where you were born. If you're not familiar with the Letter from the Heart, I would encourage you to take our Letter from the Heart class. We have an entire class on that. We also go into some detail on it in our Aspire workshop. It is a core strategy, a core tool that Abby agents use to differentiate themselves from the competition and create an emotional bond with prospective buyers and sellers before they even meet them. So you're going to tell several incidents from your life of challenges that you've overcome, skills that you have obtained, mentors who've had a great influence on your life, and how all those things have come together to shape the unique passion and skills that you bring to bear in serving your buyer and seller clients. You definitely want to include a lot of personal and professional photos. That's why it can go to 3 to 4 to 5 pages long. Use a big font size. Make it really easy for people to read this. You don't want to provide them several pages of microscopic text. That's way intimidating and nobody will read that. But if you make it easy to read and compelling, especially with a lot of photos, certainly sellers who are interviewing agents attempting to determine who they're going to hire, they're going to read this letter, even if it's several pages long. They are what we call the interested. They're very interested in finding out who you are and if you are the best agent to represent them in the sale of their home. So definitely include a hard copy of your Letter from the Heart. Reviews, again, these should be photo-driven. And by that I mean if you have a one page of reviews in your pre-listing package, most of that page should be photos. You could put 4 big photos on there and then just a 1 or 2 sentence review under each photograph. I've given you a sample here on the screen. You see a lovely young couple standing next to a for sale sign and a quote from them below. As first-time sellers, we were very nervous, but Frank handled all the details like a pro, and we got the price we wanted, Luke and Serena. Something very simple like that. And here's a pro tip for you. Don't expect your clients to write reviews for you. Even though they have a great experience with you, they really love you, they don't know what to say. And rather than just telling you no, they'll procrastinate and never get around to it. So what I've always done is write the review on behalf of my client, putting in their mouth what I believe accurately reflects their experience, and then I shoot them a quick email. And I say, here's what I would like, the quote I would like to attribute to you in my marketing materials. Would this be okay? And 100% of the time, they always reply back and they say, oh, yes, that'd be fantastic. Please do that. And because in your pre-listing package, they're receiving these reviews, they see exactly what you're doing with them. When it comes time for you to ask them for permission to quote them and use their photo, they're going to be very inclined to grant that because they see that you are presenting them and a quotation from them in a very professional manner. Kids and dogs are always a plus in your real estate photos. Get them in there. Even if people are just throwing away or going through very quickly your material, they cannot help themselves from stopping to look at happy kids or dogs if they're dog people. 4 to 6 reviews is ideal. You don't need to load them up with 6 pages of reviews. 1 page, 4 to 6 photos, and 1 or 2 sentence quotes are all that you need. Another power tip. What if you're brand new to the real estate industry and you don't have any closed clients to get reviews from? Well, I was in the same boat. Every agent was at one time. When I started, it happened to be around Thanksgiving time, so I got all of our extended family together. We were already together for Thanksgiving. But after we'd all eaten turkey, I said, okay, picture time. We all went out in the yard. I had brought my sign, sold writers, everything, and we took turns in little family groups. I moved them in different parts of the yard so that there were different backgrounds in each one, and I took these review-type photos of my own family. And then I attributed quotes to each of them. They were absolutely, completely honest. They didn't state directly that Frank sold my home in 30 days or got me 5% above list price. But they would say things like, I've known Frank for 20 years, and I wouldn't use anybody else for my real estate needs. Something of that nature. So again, just keep it character-oriented, or, Frank's got the best work habits of any real estate professional I've ever met. You can be sure he's going to go above and beyond for you. That kind of thing. Again, you write them. Make sure the message is what you want to convey to prospective buyers and sellers, and then get your family members to agree that that does reflect accurately their feelings about you. Samples of marketing materials. So you want to include property flyers, web addresses of your current listings so that they can go check it out online before you get there, a photo of your yard sign. And again, your yard sign should be a differentiator. I have listed my home with top agents before I was ever in the real estate industry who would put these nasty, gnarly signs in my front yard, looked like they got run over by a tractor with that nasty, rusty wrought iron frame. So I like to include photos of my yard sign and say, this is one of the differentiators, because I believe that all the marketing materials that I use in representing your home are reflective of the quality of the home. So if I put a nasty sign in the front yard, people are going to presume that the home is not up to par. Same way with my printed materials, same way with my websites. So this is language I use with my sellers. So I go above and beyond to ensure that every bit of marketing that we use for your home, from the sign in the front yard to the electronic media that we're going to send out across the country, everything is of the highest quality. So you want to give them some samples to back that up. On the property flyers, I would also encourage you to think next level. If you're typically selling in the $250,000 to $300,000 price range, but you'd like to break into the $400,000 or $600,000 price range, then start using marketing materials that would be appropriate for that next level, but use them on your current clients. So if you would typically do a double-sided 8.5 by 11 property flyer for your current sellers, but you want to break into a level that would require an 11 by 17 folded, higher quality, more expensive brochure, then do that now. And print enough extra copies that you can send them out in your pre-listing package so that prospective sellers, when you do get that at-bat at the higher price point, they see that this is not your first rodeo. You've been marketing at this level from long before you showed up at their kitchen table. Listing agreement and disclosures. Pre-fill the listing agreement except for price and the listing date. Everything else that goes in there is either public knowledge or it's based upon the way you do business and what you prefer and what you recommend. So go ahead and fill all of that out. You're going to have a pricing discussion and a timing discussion at the kitchen table, so leave those blank. You do want to provide all the standard seller disclosures, exclusion lists, supplemental seller's disclosure. And in your cover note, you're going to ask them to fill out as much information as they can. Anything they don't understand, leave blank. And I guarantee you, they don't know what urea formaldehyde is. They don't know what that hearing protection device J82/416 adopted by the Congress in 1982. They don't know what all that is. So you can address those specific issues at the kitchen table. But the basic stuff that they know, have them fill that out. Again, we're looking for a quick and assumptive listing conversation. And this is one way that you get there. The next steps checklist. This is a list that removes the anxiety from the seller about the entire sales process. Because even if they've been through it before, it probably hasn't been for 5 to 7 years, and things change, and they forget how it went. And the laws have changed. Marketing has changed. So you want to take away that fear by sharing with them that you know what's going to happen next, that you're the master of the entire process. And you put that in writing to them, because people will believe and follow what we can logically and tangibly explain, and giving them a written checklist of next steps satisfies that concern. So it includes what they're going to do, what the sellers need to do, what you are going to do as the real estate professional, and what the buyers will do. So you just outline this whole process. In our Aspire workshop, we provide you with a sample next steps checklist with 80 to 90% of the next steps that are part of every transaction, and then you can customize that to your specific needs. And then I would encourage you to go to the next step, spend $15 on Fiverr.com and have it made into a beautiful graphic like the one that you see on your screen. Again, this is a differentiator, and a beautiful graphic like that is much less intimidating than a 3-page black and white checklist in analog form. You make it beautiful, make it easy, And again, on Fiverr or other graphic design websites, you can find people who will do that for you very inexpensively. Staging tips: how to get the home in show and sell condition. And if you've been listing and selling homes for some time, you know that every home needs work. And sometimes it's just the basics of clearing off the counters or removing excess personal items, that Elvis memorabilia collection that just fills one room, or the barbershop themed bedroom, all kinds of craziness. You know some of the basics. But rather than you be the bad guy of having to point out all these things that need to be done, just give them a list of home staging tips. You can Google it if you don't have such a list, or talk to a home stager who may provide you with a list in hopes of getting some referrals on the hard cases. But again, I would put something together nice like what you see on the screen, top 10 home staging tips, and provide that to them. By the way, it's always been part of my seller marketing plan to invest my money up front to take care of some of the items of getting the home ready to show and sell. And I don't do everything for every seller, but I do offer to invest my money up front to do a landscaping refresh. I'll send my handyman over for 4 hours to do any odd jobs, light touch-up painting, replacing light fixtures, straightening up that leaning fence, those type items. So have those in your pocket, those professional vendors, window cleaners, house cleaners, handymen, and identify what needs to be done most or what's stressing out the seller the most, and offer to send over your people at your expense to take care of that. That investment of $200, $300 will make you thousands, in my experience. Marketing strategy. You want to provide in your pre-listing package an actual copy of the activities that you're going to engage in to ensure that every buyer sees their home and sees it presented beautifully. So my typical plan is a 14-point plan. When I'm marketing to a senior adult community, I have a 7-point plan so that I can use a larger font, easier to see. But just think through all the things that you're doing to market that home. And let me just share with you the unspoken fear that most sellers have is that you as a real estate professional are not going to put their home on Zillow. There's just this public perception that is in the wind right now that Zillow is where everybody goes to find houses and you need to be there. And that other agent who was here last night said she was going to put their house on Zillow. And if you don't address that issue, you could lose that listing opportunity and never even know why. So in my marketing strategy that I send in the pre-listing package, one of my points is I'm going to put your home on every major real estate website in the country, including Cron.com, HAR.com, TheWallStreetJournal.com, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, and of course, HAR.com. Now, do I sit up all night posting these listings to all those websites? Absolutely not. They're automatically syndicated through our local MLS, but your sellers don't know that. So you want to be very careful to take the time to inform them that you are going to put their home on all these websites. Quick CMA. Just to clarify, a quick CMA is not a pricing recommendation. I'm simply recommending that you run the CMA, print it, and include it in the pre-listing package without a recommendation of, I think your home should be priced at $275 and will likely sell $265 to $270. Not at all. Because even though you can run comps on the neighborhood through the MLS, you haven't been inside that home yet. You don't know what the amenities and condition are. You don't know what upgrades they've made. You don't know what the carpet smells like. You don't know if the backyard has been neglected, if the pool masonry is cracked. So you want to study that CMA in advance before you show up at the kitchen table. And you need to understand the high prices in the neighborhood, the mid-range price, and the low range prices, so that when you step inside and you see condition and amenities, you can appropriately put the home in the proper range. And at that point, talk the seller through the numbers where they self-discover what the most appropriate listing price is. And by the way, we'll cover that in our next listing class, listing conversion. So you do want to in your comps, really focus on the neighborhood. All pricing is neighborhood specific, and within the last 6 months. And the reason for that is that's the time period that appraisers are going to use when they do an assessment of value on the home. And if you're in an established neighborhood, you should have no shortage of comps. If you're in a brand new neighborhood, perhaps these folks bought 6 months ago, not expecting to be transferred so quickly, and you can't find resale comps for the neighborhood, you might have to go outside the neighborhood to comparable new home neighborhoods. But 90% of the time, you can find the most relevant comps within the neighborhood. Other possibilities for putting in this pre-listing package, we've covered the top 10. You could also put information on your designations if you're a CRB or a CNE. Talk about what being a negotiation expert is all about, or a residential broker is all about, and differentiate yourself further by showing your commitment to continuing growth and education. You can include a sample net sheet. If you have asked them in the pre-listing conversation on the phone how much they owe on their current mortgage, even approximately, you can share with them that with that information, you can give them a really good estimate of their walkaway money from closing, and most sellers are eager to know that number. You can provide a list of questions that they should be asking all realtors that they're interviewing. What's your average days on market? What's your average list price to sale price ratio? What are you doing that no other realtors are doing to market my home? Make sure you choose questions that you can answer in a way that reflect favorably upon you. An easy exit agreement, and this is something that you could draft up very simply, which states that if your sellers are ever unhappy with the service that you're providing, they can cancel that contract with 24 hours notice simply by giving you written notice. You probably understand that TREC considers listing agreements and buyer rep agreements to be highly personal. Agency relationships are highly personal. And if the client wants out of the agreement, TREC is going to want you to cooperate. They don't want somebody being forced into a relationship that they're uncomfortable with. So this easy exit agreement doesn't really grant any additional rights, but it can certainly ease the concerns of sellers that they're going to get into a long-term relationship with somebody that they don't have a long-term relationship with, and what are they going to do if they're unhappy. A guaranteed purchase agreement, if you do that kind of thing. A listing distribution chart. And I've given you a sample on your screen. This one is provided through har.com of the different places they syndicate the listings, and it makes a great included piece in your pre-listing package. You could also include candy or snacks. Now, you don't want to put anything that's going to melt if it's in the middle of the summer, but if the weather's cool, a little strip of Godiva chocolates can really create a favorable impression, or some hard candies if it is in the summer. Nothing extravagant, just something, again, it's a little added value, a little extra. And if it is a higher end treat, it creates more of a psychological obligation to reciprocate. In other words, you've done something nice for them, above and beyond for them. You've given a gift to them, and they feel emotionally that they need to give something back to you. In this case, their house, the listing on their house. So how do you deliver your pre-listing package? You have options. You could send it electronically, except for the chocolates. You could put it on a little flash drive and deliver the flash drive. Neither of those are my preference. Sometimes they'll be necessary due to special circumstances. But I think it's always best to have hard copy package delivered to their home, either by FedEx or by you in person. But I wouldn't necessarily ring the doorbell and try to have a conversation with them. You want to leave it at their door and then notify them by phone, text, or email that you left the package and you'd love for them to take a look at it and work through it. This is where your hard copy flyers, your marketing plan, all those things can really come into play. A printed letter from the heart, it's much more unlikely they're going to read all this stuff electronically, but if they can kind of fan through it, and you've got really nice color pieces, sometimes laminated, sometimes on card stock, they'll take it more seriously, and the appointment will be far more quick and assumptive. Last thing I want to share with you is that if you are an Abby agent, we have put a 33-page editable pre-listing package in Word format on Back Agent. To find it, you just go to Back Agent, select the Office tab, then Documents, then Aspire Resources, then Pre-listing Packages. This is not a pre-listing package that I created. I found it on the internet and I put it on Back Agent for your use. Some agents will find it very helpful just to get them started so that they have some momentum when they first sit down to create this pre-listing package. If that's you, then go for it. Otherwise, just begin assembling a package based upon the top 10 items and then any supplements that you want to put in that we teach in this class. Again, the whole purpose is to differentiate you from all other agents and predispose the sellers to do business with you once you show up at their kitchen table. My name is Frank Gray. I coach agents to the highest levels of productivity, and I'm happy to help you anytime I can. Let me know. Thank you.